What up, guys? Happy Wednesday. So podcast drops today, Sober Strength. This was filmed a couple of weeks ago, man. We went deep. We were supposed to go an hour. It went almost like over 90 minutes. But we covered everything. And a lot of my time lately has been around creating content and being on podcasts. It's just a place where I'm able to share my story, and I'm able to do it on a platform to share it with a lot of people. So you're going to see a lot of podcasts coming out that I've recorded over the last couple of weeks. And honestly, every week I'm doing anywhere between 3 to 5, either hosting my own, 1 or 2 on Flip the Switch, or being a guest 3 to 4 times. So lots of different things are coming up from my past and this experience. And one of the things that I want to point out to you guys is the transformation on the outside. I've recognized in telling this story, it truly happens from the inside. It only happens from the inside. It has to happen mentally before it can happen physically. And one of the things that was my demise, but also became my strength, was being alone. I had recognized in a lot of these conversations that I had fallen into this pattern of self-sabotage, of lack of discipline, dropping my standards. And really it happened to me because we were at a place in my life where my wife, we had a 3-year-old and we had a kid under 1 years old. So my wife was breastfeeding. She was taking care of these needy kids all day, as she should be. And she's such a queen that she didn't really need me as much as a lot of women require their men to be involved. My wife was like, hey, your job is to make money and provide, so you go do that. I don't want to bother you. So there was a trade-off. I was able to go and build this business and turn it into a success, and she bared the grunt of raising the kids, which I absolutely admire and love about her. I see too many wives today just pulling the husband into a role that they're not comfortable with, and also telling them they need to provide, and also telling them they need to have this great body, and they need to desire them and need to give the attention. It's like, you guys got to split roles. You got to be able to divide and conquer. And we did that really well. The problem was I was still dealing with my inner child. And my inner child was, I was alone a lot of the times because my wife was taking care of the kids. I was building the business. And while building the business, when I would come home, I felt alone a little bit. I wasn't as needed as most men are needed. And that allowed me to have some time to myself. And when I have time to myself, I tend to self-sabotage. And so I started turning to vices. And those vices was drinking or smoking or whatever it was. And it was really an ability of putting a lot on my wife and having these outbursts of like just picking fights. And it wasn't until I recognized that I was the common denominator and that nobody was going to fix me. And I had to go on this journey to fix me from the inside, that I didn't need validation from her. I didn't need attention from her. When I got it, it was a bonus, but she had a role and I had a role, and I needed to step up. And part of stepping up for me was getting comfortable being alone. And when you go on a journey of transformation or building a business or building something greater, bigger than yourself, there is so much time where you're on an island. You have got to separate yourself from everybody else. I compromised social outings, vacations, trips with friends, guys' night out, and I don't regret any of that because it allowed me to get to understand who I was, and allowed me to really reflect on what I wanted to change about myself. And I was able to build back a much bigger, better, stronger version of myself. But it wasn't easy. I had to have a lot of difficult conversations with myself. And honestly, we had a lot of fights, my wife and I, because of me. I was uncomfortable with me. And so the blessing of these podcasts is these guys are getting to the core value of what really kickstarted my journey, what brought me to that rock bottom point, and that what essentially propelled me forward. And the ability to propel forward came from self-awareness, self-actualization, of recognizing I was the problem and I needed to fix me. And I used health and fitness as a tool to identify and build myself up, to work on my weaknesses, to exchange bad habits for good habits. You can't just get rid of a habit, you need to replace a habit. So I slowly traded out my bad habits for good habits. And I had recognized I had 4 or 5 really bad habits. And so I swapped them for 4 or 5 good habits that I still implement and run my life today. I don't have quantifiable goals anymore. My goals are based on how well I execute my day, how well I follow through on my action items, my 5 daily non-negotiables. And those are what keep me in a happy, elevated vibration every single day. So the physical representation that you see today comes from those 5 daily goals. So think about that, guys. Stop chasing a physique. It starts in the mind before it happens in the body.